Good morning and welcome to the podcast. Today we'll be talking about the violence of video games. Today I'm here with Braden Cloach and I'm Elliot Ware. Let's get started.
The violence of video games and how they bring it to the real world and why it affects a kid's mental health. Minecraft. There is violence in Minecraft. Other than smacking a chicken with a sword and beating them by their animals, zombies can kill you. There are a lot of monsters. There are some pretty bad things like swords, bows, pickaxes. These things are all in real life and could enter a bunch of kids and they can enter a bunch of kids' hands and they can do some pretty bad things and it could affect them and they could probably get hurt using any of these weapons. Also, the monsters that are here are pretty bad for kids to see because of the kids' young age. Also, not only that, there are so many fun things to do. There's a bunch of things you can do. There's like game modes you can do. There's bed wars, egg wars, and more. You can also have a survival or creative world. I like playing with my friends at school on creative because it is very entertaining. There's also one for your computer that you can get for free, and it is called Minecraft Education, and it is really fun, and it actually has blocks where you could get letters on it, and it is really cool.
There's not much violence in the game Minecraft. It's one of the most popular games. It's usually not one of the most violent, but it can get very scary. It can remind kids of a scary zombie, but the thing is, they have a bunch of bad things that could affect the kids' mental health and physical health. They could have so much fun in this game because it is so not violent. It's one of the most popular games for kids. It's just that kids might have a fun time playing it. You can also have build wars. You can try building a very beautiful house or try building a really cool mansion. There's so many fun things that you can build in Minecraft. That's why most kids love the game.
Fortnite. The violence of Fortnite is a bunch of guns and other weapons. There can be so many things that could hurt your mental health in this game. If you get into the real world, you might get addicted. You will not be able to see your friends, families, and others. That would not be good because that could also be hurting them. There's also a bunch of kids down here that do a bunch of mean things to other people, and they trash talk each other, and it is not very good. And they rage at each other, and they scream at each other, and it's just really bad. And sometimes when a kid gets really mad, he throws a controller at the floor or anything else, and that could probably break it, and that would not be very good.
There's so many fun things that you can do on this game, just like make friends and others. You can ride animals and wolves. They started like with this game, and it's actually one of the most booming games ever. There is also Only Up in this game, which can make people really mad, but it's really fun to play with friends. You can also meet some really nice people and have a joke and laughter about this game. You can also build your own creative map and have some fun. There's so many survival maps also on Fortnite that people have made, and it's really fun to play with.
Roblox. This game is called Roblox. There's a bunch of fun games that you can play. There's millions and millions of online games. There are some really fun ones too that you can play with friends at work and others. But there is a bunch of violence in this game, like swords, bows, and pickaxes, just like in Minecraft. This game could affect the kids, and they could not be able to talk with their parents or family because there are simulators on this game. So that could get kids distracted and they don't pay attention to anything else. And it affect these kids and the relationships with their parents, sister, brothers, and other siblings and family members. And there's a bunch of bad things. And there's also a bunch of like zombies. There's different games where there's zombies and stuff.
This game is called Roblox. It's really fun. You can play and meet a bunch of friends. You can play games like Football Fusion. I play with one of my friends from school, and it's really entertaining to me. There are so many fun things that you can do, such as make friends, play games, and others. You can also be able to communicate something called voice chat. All you need to do is have a mic and then you're good. This game's also free. A bunch of these other games that we're going to be talking about cost a lot of money. Although you do have to buy like Robux, a currency in Roblox, to buy some games. You can also buy accessories and cool things to make your avatar look cool.
Rocket League. There's almost no violence, but there's a bunch of bad things, such as maybe even throwing a controller or mouse or whatever you play on. There's also a bunch of trash talkers in this game, and it could get to the point where people get mad. But the thing is, when other kids trash talk each other, it gets crazy because they are just being mean to each other back and forth, and that is violence. There's also a bunch of toxicity and overall a bunch of raging in this game. So I do not recommend playing this game because it could get you really mad and you could throw something, and that would not be good because then it would probably break. And also, not only that, it could be pretty bad for the thing, and it could get to the point where people get mad and they start throwing other stuff.
This game is good for kids because it isn't as competitive as other games. It incorporates teamwork with friends and family, and maybe even strangers. There are so many fun game modes like 2v2, 1v1, 4v3, and 3v3. And there's a football mode and a soccer mode. Also, there's a mode where it's basketball, another one's hockey for winter. And there's another one where the ball bounces and tries to score on other people's nets as the floor falls. There are so many fun game modes like Superpower and Spike Rush and more. There's also cosmetics in this game to make your car look cool, and you can blow up other cars, and you can have cool explosions. You can change the colors of your cars, and you can have a victory. You can just have a bunch of fun things in this game.
Among Us. There's a bunch of violence in Among Us, such as there are different mods that you can do that could hurt you if you bring it to the real world. There's a knife that you could kill somebody with, and that is very dangerous. And that could affect these kids' health physically. And there's also a bunch of rages in this game. There's so much trash talk in this game. Also, it was one of the biggest and booming games of 2021. But it fumbled as soon as a bunch of kids started playing it and their parents had found out about it. Violence in this game is very much because there are knives and other mods where you can get guns and others. There's also venting in this game, and if kids tried doing that in real life, it would go pretty badly, and they could probably fall through the vent, or they could get their head stuck in the vent, or whatever. It depends on the size of the vent. But actually, it really doesn't, because overall, just don't go in the vents.
Among Us is a game about teamwork to find out who's the murderer. There are so many fun things that you can do in this game, such as work with friends. You can play with friends and even family. There's a mode where there's a hide and seek mode. I don't know. I don't really play it that much. But there's a bunch of fun in this game. And it could not affect these kids' mental health. And these kids could end up having more fun than a bunch of these other games that we're talking about. There's also cosmetics in this game, but most of them are free. You can buy a cool loading screen and other things.
Fall Guys. There's so much violence in this game, such as pushing people off the map and others. There's also a point where you have to yell at people and you get really mad and you rage because of this game. Sometimes when I play it, I smack my chair because I get so mad at this. And also, not only that, there's a bunch of violence in this game. Sometimes you have to race to the end of the race and you have to get a win. And also, not only that, there is so many things that you can do in this game, but there is also a bunch of violence still. And that could not be very good for the kids to see, because the kids might try doing it to their family members while they're doing something. And that would not be very good. Also, not only that, there's a bunch of things that could hurt you physically and mentally. There's also a bunch of kids on here that rage and trash talk other people, and that is not very good. And the voice chat on here is very bad.
Also, like other games, this game's not super violent. All there is just pushing and shoving. You can also dive over people, and you can hit them and they might fall over on the void. But there's also cosmetics in this game, so you can edit your character and have some really cool patterns. You can have some fun, mainly while playing creative maps, because your friends and family can make a bunch of random creative maps that could be cheap but still fun to play with. You can also buy an item shop. There are battle passes and other things. There's a bunch of collabs in this game also. You can have Sonic and other genuine collabs.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We spent a lot of time and hard work on this podcast. It took us around 2 days to make it because it is very hard to record. Also, we are going to be talking about one more game, which is GTA. GTA has so much violence, and it is not very good because GTA could get very violent because you can get 5 stars, and you could get hurt playing any of these games. And not only that, there's a bunch of violence. There's guns and other weapons. There's even rocket launchers, and that is not very good. Also, not only that, there's a bunch of kids on here that just camp and they can do some pretty mean things. There's also online where you can get in trouble, and also there's also a bunch of bad things that are pretty bad. And also, not only that, there's also a bunch of violence in this game, and if you get caught playing this game, you might get in trouble. That's why a lot of kids play this secretly. Like, one time I tried playing it secretly on one of my friend's accounts, but my mom and dad caught me, and I got in trouble, and I got grounded for at least 5 months. So I do not recommend getting this game for your kids, because these kids could get hurt using any of these weapons in this game, and it could not be very good for them, and they could get in trouble by you, or just they want to get in trouble by themselves. And also, there is also custom cars that you can get that could hurt them if they actually drive it in this game.
I don't know much about GTA because I have never played it, but I know that you can customize your character and drive with a lot of cars. You might even crash, which is also not a good thing. You can also drive planes and other vehicles, such as jets and more.
And thank you again for watching our podcast, or actually just listening to it. Also, there's so much non-violence. I will finish it off. There is not violence in this game because there is so many fun things to do. You can help people, and you can also be a taxi driver in this game. And you can also join a bunch of your friends, and you can have online games, and you could have fun actually playing this game. Also, there are so many things to do on this game. You can drive motorcycles, go-karts, cars, jets, and planes. And you can also customize those. You can make a supercar, a super motorcycle that flies, and it has a bunch of fire that comes out the back. But that is not that much violence.